everybody, welcome back to the James Rule Crypto Show. My name is James Rule XRP, and I'll tell you what, every once in a blue moon, I get to interview some amazing companies, some amazing organizations. And today, on this Sunday, I have the opportunity of interviewing a member of the DCTA, the Digital Currency Traders Alliance. We have Kevin Trommer, Deputy Director. Hey, brother, how's it going, man?
Hey, James, doing great. Happy to be here with you today. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you're here today. I know I'm actually a member of this organization. I'm representing Texas. So, hey, give us an introduction. Tell me about yourself and tell me about the history of DCTA. Let's get after it, man.
Yeah, sure. Well, like I said, it's great being here with you today. As mentioned, my name's Kevin Trommer. I'm the Deputy Director of the Digital Currency Traders Alliance. We're located in California, but we're trying to establish ourselves nationwide. We are we're currently the only pro-cryptocurrency consumer protection group that's actively focused on giving a voice to retail investors. We try and educate investors on how they can, talk to policymakers, how to get involved in politics, and we talk to policymakers on how we try and get them educated on cryptocurrency, blockchain principles, and try and get them with a baseline knowledge so they can actually, create good policy. A little bit about myself, why am I qualified to do this? I've been involved with cryptocurrency since 2013. I'm not actually talking to you on my desktop right now, on my laptop, but my desktop, it was originally built to mine Dogecoin back in the day, which I didn't realize I'm wearing the Doge shirt for that. A little self-plug and that gets there.
That's all good, man. You got some competition here. You got some
absolutely
competition.
No, we're all working together, right? But I've also been a lobbyist for the last 10 years. So I started a little bit before I got into cryptocurrency. And although being a California-based lobbyist, it basically applies to all the other states in DC as well. It's just how you learn how to navigate the halls of power. You learn how to talk to folks. So I'm an education lobbyist these days. I've kind of gone uphill, I'd like to say. I've risen from my dirtier days of the lobbyist where you're just kind of taking money from anyone so you can get a paycheck. So now I focus just on education and cryptocurrency. So now I want to try and share the same tips and secrets I've learned over time with all of y'all. And my executive director, the co-founder, Nate Bradley, who unfortunately wasn't able to join us today, he is also eminently qualified because he started the first cannabis group in California back in 2012, I want to say 2011, and ultimately helped the state legalize. Wow. So he's got experience building these grassroots operations in many different states. He's actually working on legalization campaigns and some of the Midwest states as well right now. So we want to share our experience with all of you.
That's great because we continue every day on YouTube, crypto, Twitter, social media to try to educate these individuals, the upper echelon that are making the decisions that are looking like idiots, like the Gary Genslers. They can't make up their mind on what's a security and what's not a security. And it's hypocrisy. What are the damages? What are the damages? And I'm just bringing up Ripple and XRP as an example. For the past 2.5 years, what are the damages to investors? What are the damages to developers in the United States that are like, all right, now it's been 2.5 years. You can't give us clarity on this currency, this digital currency. It's not a security. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that now. I've been in this 6 years. Yeah. It's a digital currency. But what's really going on behind the scenes? What's going on behind doors at the SEC and Congress and the feds and all this? You got FedNow coming up here in a couple of weeks. It's all these things that just make you go, and what is it going to take for us to educate members of Congress and representatives on a state level? I mean, how easy is it to get into the DCTA and get with a local representative?
So honestly, it's super easy. I'll try and take that question in a few different parts. So first, what is going on behind closed doors? It's a game of power politics, to be completely honest. You have different camps in politics, and if I ever get too dense, let me know. I'm a political scientist.
No, you're good. Hey, I'm all ears. I'm soaking it up. I'm soaking it up, man. You do your thing.
So essentially, you have something called power politics, where you'll have different groups of folks with different partisan interests. For example, in California, we think of, I know you're in Texas. In California, everyone views from outside of California views this as kind of like a one-party state. We all must be some socialist utopia because all the Dems are, partying, getting along. It's all, kumbaya sort of thing. That's not it can't be further from the truth. we might be a one-party state, but what's happened is all the Republicans that used to vote Republican have now become a moderate or conservative Democrat. So you'll have different groups of Democrats within the state with their own different policy interests. So you'll have moderate Democrats, maybe you'll be almost libertarian Democrats. You'll have your super progressive Democrats. And that's the same way in DC as well. So you have different groups of folks, and that's why you see some Democrats in the blockchain caucus who are clearly a little bit more moderate or tech friendly, who want to invest in this sort of innovation for the future. But then you also have some of the, the folks like Elizabeth Warren, who of course has her own sphere of influence with folks like Gary Gensler, who have very different opinions. And although they share the same party label, they have completely opposite sort of partisan and ideological differences that they're trying to push across. So if you want to say that's because, you can make the insinuation that's because she has, cozied up with the banks over the years, I've never talked to her about that, so I'm not sure, but that's definitely a plausible scenario. But what's really happening as a result, especially with XRP and just competition in the digital currency space in general, it's really negative. We don't have clear guidelines and clear regulatory clarity there. How we don't really know the rules. We don't really know how to operate, how to navigate the sector as we move forward. And although Gary Gensler keeps saying that, yeah, it's super clear. It's a very, you just have to come and register. That's not true. It could be further from the truth. Just like a Coinbase who met with them 30 times last year, only to get the runaround. I've been told in private conversations, actually, that the SEC has no interest, and they've expressed this to the people I've talked to, no interest in actually regulating cryptocurrency or providing good guidelines by setting, not ruling through arbitration. But because the second they believe the second they establish any sort of real guideline, then the crypto companies are going to start kind of weaseling in and out, trying to figure out new asset classes. They feel like we're just going to exploit loopholes, which to me suggests that they think the whole sector is just crooked in the first place, which is a little ironic coming from them. To answer your question about XRP holders, as an XRP holder myself, I've been very upset at the fact that, since that SEC decision to litigate back in, like 2019 now, I forget now. But it's really screwed us during the last bear market, or the last bull market, excuse me. We never got close to our all-time high or surpassing it at mid 330s, I think. And as a result, if you're a new person coming to the space or sector wanting to build and develop, why would you go to XRP? Why would you go to the one that's currently being, scrutinized with a magnifying glass by the SEC in your own country? It's a real shame, especially because we see them serving as a global leader in other parts of the world. Really trying to bridge walled gardens and connect different, separated economies. And I think that's a great thing. And that's why, I get to wrap this up. It's why it's really important to get involved with organizations like the DCTA. And that's why we're really happy to have you, James, as our Texas chapter. Because really, we provide training. We teach you how to really meetings with legislators. We're almost off the bat. And you'd be surprised. There's a difference between federal representatives and state representatives. And the fact that a lot of times the federal ones, they're not really interested in, that you can meet with their staff, but it's really hard to get an actual meeting with the representatives themselves because they're very busy. At the state level, it couldn't be further from the truth. I've actually, I just was talking to one of our Arizona heads on Thursday. He ended up getting his second meeting. He's only been doing this for like 3 weeks. He got a second meeting with a state representative in person. And then, in Arizona, we're trying to actually start a policy forum to really try to bring the legislators, their staff, and then the industry together to talk about what type of economic benefits we can create for that state.
Yeah, I mean, that's big. And Texas is pro crypto. You have Ted Cruz. You have I met Governor Abbott here a couple of years ago at a blockchain conference in Austin. And there's actually a representative here in Orange, Texas, in my neck of the woods. That's what we say here in Texas, in my neck of the woods. That I actually have his phone number. I have all that information. But, so you guys can coordinate meetings with these representatives in each state, right? Do you have like a script? Is there something like a standard script you go by to introduce yourself, to explain what the organization is, what we're trying to accomplish, all the above?
Yeah. So we have a basic script. Normally these meetings are so first off, some people get very nervous before they meet with folks. Politicians are just like everyday people. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, but generally they're just average jokes, So these meetings are, they're nothing to be afraid of. Most of these meetings are 15 to 30 minutes. And
Yeah.
you know, ideally that's a nice dialogue back and forth, but you can go through the talking points in, you know, easy 7 minutes, just
Yeah.
explaining what you're interested in, what you're about, what the group's about. And then hopefully that opens up the floodgates for a more substantive, in-depth conversation. A lot of the times we're really posing ourselves because we're posing ourselves as a resource and an asset for lawmakers. You'd be shocked by how little some lawmakers know. I mean, they're probably not actually, but especially around this sector in general. A lot of people, a lot of them, you know, they only read what they see. They only know about crypto for what they see on the news. So they read the headlines, and that's what their takeaway is. They don't know about the nuances. They don't know the difference between, you know, an altcoin, a shit coin, a meme coin, or, you know,
Right.
just Bitcoin even. So, you know, they'll see things like you know, like rug pulls on or I don't know if rug pulls on random meme coins, you know, or you know, something like SafeMoon, Pepe, you know, Ben coin now, you know. I'm not calling any of them out, but like those are clearly a different category of coins than some of the ones that have been around for 10 years. And to see them all lumped together in a sort of regulatory approach is a real shame. One other thing that people have a huge advantage of at the state level is you'd be shocked by how different the federal regulators and state regulators are to get to actually have a dialogue with. Our state regulators are actually really interested in doing a pro crypto approach, and we see that across the board. Because what happens with the state regulators, they're like, okay, well, we want to keep the members of our state safe. We want to attract jobs and more money for tax bases in our state. So they're actually very interested in being like, okay, well, how can we make this easier for businesses? How can we make it, you know, where is the common ground here? You know, the federal regulators don't have that at all. And I personally am of the belief that down the road, we're going to have a new agency that focuses specifically on digital assets, just because, you know, we need something that it can actually, you know, is nimble enough to actually keep up with the rapid pace of innovation in this space. Because, you know, right now we're applying securities laws from the 30s to digital assets were invented in 2008.
Yeah, and there's like
sense.
what, nearly 20,000 digital assets out there. How are they going to even keep up with this growing technology unless they have an organization that's strictly focused on digital assets? You know, I mean,
Yeah, well, it's almost impossible, man.
yeah, I mean, it grows every day. You hear about something new or some new technology, and I think we're already ahead of the game. You know, we consider ourselves our own banks because we custody our own crypto. I mean, it's value that we're holding dearly, holding on for dear life. Or, you know, I'm not a day trader. You know, I've taken profits in the past, but, you know, I'm growing with these ecosystems. I'm not in it just for a quick buck. I'm in it to not only educate the world, but experience this digital revolution as it grows. And I've interviewed so many amazing ecosystems that have built on top of the XRP ledger, and they're still busting their asses every day, even with this lawsuit and all this other BS. They're doing everything in their power to create something that's going to help the world. And at the same time, Gary Gensler's like, no, that's the security. Oh, Algo, yeah, I knew the guy, but it's the security, and it's the security. You know, bullshit. Come on, man. Come on. Let's get this game on the road. Let's get the ball rolling. And it's really irritating for you, for me, for the rest of the community to be stifled this way, for you know, people in the upper governments knowing pretty much what this is. I mean, we talk about it every day on crypto Twitter and YouTube, and we read the white papers, and many of them read the white papers too. But yeah, it's a bank grab. It's to me, it's greed. It's government greed, and we have to get the bad actors out. We have to vote the bad ones out, vote the young, educated ones in. That's just my opinion. And I never get political on my channel, but man, this is a political thing, man. You know.
Well, and that's one thing. That's one thing. I'm glad you brought that up. One thing I always say, you know, I've got two taglines, buzz lines, I guess, that I always use. And one is crypto is a bipartisan issue, you know. And second is, you know, there should be a way, you know, to balance robust consumer protections with strong economic growth and innovation. And I'll focus on the first one right now, which is it should be bipartisan, you know. If you read the news, you and I shouldn't be having a conversation. You know, California and Texas supposed to be at butting heads all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Further from the truth, man. In fact, I've actually been first. Texas has been so great for the sector. They've been doing some great blockchain bills. Both, you know, some of your federal representatives have been great on this issue. Your state representatives have been phenomenal. You have a great local blockchain association, the Texas TBA. They're fantastic. going forward, one of the things we're trying to do is actually connect our consumer groups with the blockchain associations in each state, so that we have a consumer group and an industry group working in in sync. So that way you can use consumer voices to help push bills that benefit the wider sector as a whole. The industry and the consumer, 9 times out of 10, we're on the same page here. It's it's pretty interesting. So one of the things I've been trying to think about here, and maybe this might be a world premiere actually, is if we could somehow come up with a California Texas blockchain compact of some sort, where we set up a list of reasonable guidelines of like, this is what blockchain protections. These are consumer protections enshrined in law about what can and can't be allowed in this sector, and how we should be promoting innovation. That would be national news, bro. I don't think that would
that would the meshing of Cali and Texas, and so many Californians. Yeah, so many Californians are moving to Austin. The fintech groups are moving to Austin, Texas. They're coming over here. Our taxes are better in Texas. Our blockchain. I think there's 21 bills right now. I looked on the on your page, and there's like 21 bills in Texas. Like, we're the big pro crypto state. And so I sign up for a membership, and if you saw the splash screen at the beginning of this video, tell me about these Scary Gary NFTs, man. They are kick ass. Tell me about it.
Sure, absolutely, man. So so basically, we've been pushing a membership drive recently, because we want to get as many members as we can on the ground in each state. That way, take meetings with the regulators, their policymakers, and hopefully, for getting ready for the 2024 election, so that way we can vote some bad politicians out and get some good ones in. We want DCTA to basically be the crypto version of the NRA. We want to have a very strong consumer focused, protecting our rights approach in every state, making sure that we are a political force to be reckoned with, because as we said, crypto is bipartisan here. So we started this with our Stop the SEC campaign, which really focused on Gary Gensler being, basically telling him, look, you got to stop. Congress needs to step in. Gary Gensler's hurting us before the fact by not regulating bad actors like FTX, and he's harming us after the fact when he comes down and overreacts after we have just straight up fraud, with whether it's the Don Quo Luna thing, or if it's Three Arrows Capital with commingling funds. So he's harming us, and as all we've seen from then is actually him just getting more and more monstrous over time. And that's kind of what led to the Scary Gary NFT, his banking bros. So we've designed Gary Gensler as a variety of different monsters and a bunch of spooky backgrounds, and we think if it's a little fun, tongue-in-cheek way to kind of poke fun at him, hopefully gets under his skin a little bit. We think we're trying to see if we can get some folks in the SEC to buy one. I think that'd be funny. But what we're doing right now is, since we're in a nonprofit advocacy coalition, we're not in the business of selling NFTs. What we're doing is we're actually pushing our membership drive by giving new members who sign up for a yearly membership, which is only $125. They'll be airdropped a Scary Gary NFT. And we're going to do that for the first 7,500 people that join, and then we're reserving 2,500 of those NFTs to basically help gamify politics. Because I know that for most folks, if you're not a political nerd like me, it's kind of, let me backtrack. I'm a political nerd, and I still don't like going and knocking on doors and doing stuff like that. So we figured, if we can incentivize folks to take meetings and kind of step out of their comfort zone, or really canvas for crypto, we should be giving them, some NFTs as a result. It's a little fun way to participate, and as a result, you get to hopefully piss off Gary Gensler at the same time. And I think it's also important to note that the $125 membership, you get the free NFT. You also get an NFT membership card, which looks real cool. But you also get access to our legislative portal, which shares information, resources. You get access to our effective advocacy trainings, so that way we can make you into crypto lobbyists like ourselves. And we really unite. You can kind of join a grassroots network of folks across the state, or across the country, to where you can really collaborate and work with and kind of flag different issues. I've been really impressed with our network so far. You know, in addition to you, we've got, I think, I had it in front of me actually. Give me one sec. Yeah, right here. We're currently active in 8 states, and we're in the initial conversations in another 8. Honestly, that list is already out of date because I know that just over the weekend I got a few more emails about folks in, I believe, Georgia and Connecticut. So
Nice.
we're rapidly moving along, and all we need is more people to join up and get active with it. You know.
Congratulations to what you guys and gals are doing, because, a lot of us follow John Deaton crypto law. We've all connected to Congress, and you guys are taking it a step further and giving members of the community an opportunity to actually talk to members of Congress, local representatives. I mean,
well, honestly, I'm so happy that we work with John Deaton. He's one of our advisory board members. He's such a great guy, such a champion for the community. I'm honestly, when Nate told me that we got him, there's been a few shocks where I was like, holy crap, this is actually happening since we first launched. The first one was when he randomly shot off an email to John Deaton about us. And the second one was when he got Crypto Wendy to join on as one of our board members. Because I was like, I've been involved since 2013. I remember when Crypto Wendy first started, and I was like, you're a legend, So it's things like that where I'm just kind of sometimes just flabbergasted that that's happening.
I've met so many amazing people. I've been to London. I've met people in the community. We have the XDC conference coming up at the end of August in Texas, and there's going to be so many amazing people and developers there. And I'm going to be like a special guest. So, I'm just a guy from Southeast Texas that I have horses and cows and farm animals outside of my window. And I'm getting it out to the universe, like all these interviews, it's getting it out to the universe, these positive vibes, because we want positive things to come back to us every day. And if we keep fighting the fight and pushing and educating more and more and more every day, not only in the US, but around the world, we're going to get what's coming to us, are the fruits of our labor. And that's what it's all about, man. And I think you guys, really have an incredible organization, and I can't wait to see this organization grow. Me being a part of it as well. Man, what else? What else we gonna talk about, man? I mean, what else could top that?
Oh man, we can talk about anything, man. We can talk about anything.
So Gary Gensler, Elizabeth Warren. I think if I'm not mistaken, I was pulling up some stats on Warren, and I want to say her net worth, which is documented, or is like 64 million. Gary Gensler's like 96 million. And it just blows me away that she is so anti-crypto, and she has like 3 yachts, 4 homes. And I don't know if it was inherited. I could be wrong, but I'm sure that some of these pay-tos have gone to these representatives that are, fighting crypto right now.
Yeah, it's gnarly to me that she started off as a consumer advocate, and now she's basically become as rich as the people she was fighting against originally.
Yep.
And I don't know, if she's. I'm not sure if she has, let's call it ulterior motives. We can just throw in some lobbyist speak. Overly enthusiastic about going after certain people because she has a staked interest in it. But yeah, it could be fear of losing what she has. It could be that she's in bed with the folks that have the most to gain from crypto going down, so they could either stomp it out for a CBDC or just simply scoop it up, like we may be seeing with some of these BlackRock ETFs. Or if she really just is an old curmudgeon. I don't know.
How do you feel about this crazy Prometheum and the first regulated SPAC with the SEC, and they're not even listing anything? I mean, we pulled up so much garbage on Prometheum and all Gary Gensler, and oh man, it's just like, I mean, they should know that we're going to figure them out at one time or another, because the crypto sleuths have been just kicking that ass in the ETH gate for the last 2 years, and I'm sure Gensler's like, shit, they figured me out again.
Well, sometimes I've noticed that they talk about how power corrupts, and absolutely, but like, you'd be surprised by some of the stuff. You would think that people would be smart enough that you're not going to do this because it's obviously going to get caught. I've seen a lot of that. And sometimes politicians and people with power think they're above the law, or they think they're so clever. It's no one can figure out what they're actually trying to do. Oops. And it could be for the freaking truth, I think before the broadcast started, I was telling you about some of the scandals we've had in California over the years. You know, we had a senator who actually was there the day he got arrested, a state senator from San Francisco who was a big anti-gun progressive. Who ended up he was selling AK-47s and assault weapons to Islamic terrorists in Malaysia. You know, and he thought, he was like, someone's got to do it. It might as well be me. I can make the money. I'll never get caught. I'm a big shot state senator. So some of the
Wow.
things they do, you just think like how did what was your thought process that got you to this point in the first place? You know, because clearly any step of that you should have been like, oh yeah, like obviously I'm gonna be caught. And I feel like Gary Gensler's doing the same thing.
Yeah,
You know,
Gary's like, I'm bulletproof. You can't touch me. I can call
yeah, he's got the videos from
security.
him at MIT. He's got his other talks, you know, and then all of a sudden he just did an about face. And I think it's, you know, I really enjoy it. I don't know if you follow Adam Cochran on Twitter, but he's I think a venture capitalist who did a great analysis of the Promethean hearing, and he had three takeaways of three potential avenues this could have been, and I think it's honestly a blend of all three, which was either that the Promethean folks were plants planted there by the SEC and counted the narrative that they're unfriendly to crypto, and that, you know, oh yeah, I just walked in and I got you know, validated, authorized, or they're opportunists where they just see an opportunity to be like, all right, well, no one else wants to work with you, we will like get down on our knees and, you know, whatever you want, if we can corner the market, you know. Or what I think, or the last one he had, and I think this is kind of varies the two here, is it's like almost like an insider job. But something that we talk about a lot in political science is something called regulatory capture, which is, it sucks because, let me explain it first. I'll explain why it sucks. Which is where the industry will capture regulators that are responsible for regulating their own industry, by, you know, basically giving. They won't necessarily bribe them outright with like, here's $100,000, do something I want. What they'll do is they'll offer them a job, for them, so they'll have a nice cushy place to go after they leave the regulated job. So, you know, they might be making 250,000 as a regulator, but if they rule the way this company wants, that company will turn around and give them a sweet, you know, $1 million a year gig.
Hinman.
Essentially,
It's like
it's
Hinman.
essentially right.
Yeah, A16Z, Jay Clayton, all these other SEC members going to Fireblocks and A16Z, and they're getting shares in the company for just being there, for just saying, "Oh, here I am. How you doing today? Oh, I'm getting shares. Bring it on, bitch."
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I would love a gig like that. If it sounds really cushy, you know. But unfortunately, when it comes down to making a policy, it's not a good look. It's not sustainable, you know, and it honestly is ultimately bad for the sector because you have a misalignment between what needs to be done and, you know, the folks actually raising the voice.
And they're all cool. You know, Clayton sues Ripple. Now he's all cool being a part of these fintech companies. I mean, it makes him look like an idiot, man. Like, why did you sue Ripple, you dumbass? Why did you go to Fireblocks? Why did you go to, you know, I think he went to several different fintech companies as the board of directors. And I'm like, really? You know, and all the crypto sleuths, DAI, Bradcoms, all of us, you know, we're just pulling up all this ETHgate garbage, and we're like, okay, enough is enough. Let's get through this. And yeah, DCTA, man, DCTA. I'm going to leave all your links below. I'm going to leave the links to the Scary Garys and all the above. I know our time's kind of getting tight right now, but how easy is it to sign up?
It's super easy. You just go to joindcta.org/membership. We have a link right at the bottom. You can pay with a credit card. It's $125. A part of the membership process, you'll drop your Polygon address, because we released the Scary Gary on Polygon to reduce if no one wants to pay $80 in gas fees, you know.
Exactly.
So that way it'll be airdropped to you. We're currently whitelisting for it, but, you know, expect them to come out in the next few days. And yeah, it should be really easy. If you want to get in touch with us even more, we have a contact us form at the bottom of the page. If you're interested in volunteering your time, much like James, we're always looking for more members in different states to get active. Right now we've got the West Coast almost on lock, you know, but we really need to push out into the East Coast and the Midwest, and, you know, the more the merrier, as I always say.
There's plenty of room for growth, man, and hats off to you guys and gals. And like I said, I'm honored to be a member of this organization, because we do continue to educate every day, and, you know, crypto and blockchain technology are not going away. It's here to stay.
No, not at all.
And we just have to continue to educate the masses, Congress, representatives, the world, everybody around the world about these incredible projects that are making the world a better place.
Absolutely. The last thing I'll say, James, is a lot of times it's really easy to get kind of caught up in crypto Twitter and just kind of just yelling into the abyss. And I know that feels good short term, and hell, I do it too. I still do it even with DCTA. But one of the best ways you can really channel frustration is in getting involved and actually putting your feet on the ground and doing something. It might seem hopeless at first because you're working against the powers that be, but honestly, excuse me. DCTA started as two activists in California, albeit we were politicians or lobbyists before, actually, not politicians. We've been taking Zoom meetings over the last year, and just the two of us, before we even had anyone else on board, already got a bill in California introduced to expand blockchain opportunities at community colleges. And so if two people can do that remotely via Zoom, I can only imagine what happens when we can rally 10,000, a million, the 54 million folks that own cryptocurrency in the US. If we can get them rallied up, we'll be an unstoppable voting bloc, and we just have to put the groundwork in now to make sure that's a reality.
Well, we're going to get there. It's going to take a little time, but we're going to get there. We're going to share it. We're going to educate. And thanks again for being here, Kevin. I always love interviewing, blockchain companies or organizations that are trying to get everyone a level playing field. And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Anytime you want, I'll be back on. We can talk Gary Gens, we can talk regulations, or we can just shoot the shit over a beer,
Let's do it, man. Come down to Texas and I'll buy you a Shiner Bock and we'll have a good time, man. We'll have a good time.
Absolutely. That sounds amazing.
All right, Kevin. Well, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks again. All the information is in the description of the video. Check it out. DCTA. My name is James Rule, XRP. And as I always say, I told you so.